We're working on the Flames of Orion board, and I was talking to my buddy Dylan. He did all the layout and design for the Flames of Orion rulebook, and he's been shoving me down the Necromunda rabbit hole. And then the other Dylan from the rulebook who took all the photos, he gave me some of the rules for Necromunda. And so I didn't want to go down this rabbit hole, but honestly, I'm really enjoying it. So we got to make this 5mm terrain board, also compatible with 28mm stuff. It's much easier than you might think. This is a computer server. I got this from Unlimited 7 on Cult 3D. And then this is a building. Very easily, we can make this look like a building, just in the context of the models you're putting in there. And then you can make this look like a computer server. What I'm trying to get at here is I put elements into the board that can be kind of interpreted as 5mm scale terrain, but also could be used for 28mm scale stuff as well. Realizing that my bits box just isn't equipped for sci-fi stuff, I was trying some sculpting. I made some like TV monitors and like a keyboard and some stuff, and I think it's turning out pretty good. Much easier than I thought. I guess everything is technically like square and stuff, so I'm gonna mold and cast these and make a couple copies and start plastering them everywhere. I'm trying not to go down the rabbit hole, but it's kind of like how I like to do things. So yeah. So I just made a mold. You might notice that this doesn't have any smooth edges on it. That's because I use silicone putty. This is for like dentists and stuff, and it's super easy to work with. It's food safe because it's supposed to be like in your mouth. I also like this because it won't leak everywhere if it's not watertight, so you don't have to stress out. I think my resin is just really old. Yeah, it's not curing. I made a new mold and then cast again, so maybe it'll work better this time. I mixed it a little bit better, but anyway, I wanted to install some of these guys, and I'm thinking I install some of them pinned up against here. This is like gonna be a city, so it makes sense to kind of like incorporate them into the build. I bought these on eBay and I didn't know they were going to be 3D printed. I thought it was going to be like a kit or something. And the layers weren't super adhered to each other, so I was able to just rip off the bases, which was pretty convenient actually. I started basically kitbashing them into some sci-fi buildings because they kind of looked kind of ordinary, so I flipped some of them upside down, glued them to each other. And really I wanted this to look like it was a bunker in the middle for the 5mm, and then for the 28mm I wanted these to look like servers that were like embedded into the rock. Maybe there had been cave-ins or something. I made a new STL. It's an L-beam just to kind of add some ledges to the side of things like these canisters. And I added a bit of a gothic flair. I saw some arches on cathedrals, and I like the like upside down spindles that it had, so I added that as an element. And I think these have a really cool shape. Little squares are Necromunda tiles that I scaled down as well, from the same creator as before, and they worked out great. I weighed it down with a brick, and that made sure that it was flat, and it also kind of worked as a heat sink. The hot glue really holds on the heat when you glue it to foam, so the brick really helped with that. By the way, this is a custom scent engine I'm making for Scented Realms' upcoming Kickstarter. This is going to be one of the tiers, and I think it's going to turn out really cool. I got these hexagons from the Dollar Tree, and I cut out the middle and kind of only used one half of it, and they worked as a perfect sci-fi walkway. Had just the right amount of detail, and I was really happy with it. As I was talking about at the beginning of the video, we're gonna make these look like buildings, and the buildings look like servers. And so this is kind of the server room. For Flames of Orion, I want this to look like a mech repair station. And so this whole facility is made to repair mechs. And that's one of the main reasons all these people are going to be fighting over this location. And then for Necromunda, I think it would be really cool if this is like, like in Rogue One, where it's like a huge server of like mechanical like knowledge or whatever. Like this is a database that people are fighting over for information, almost like a data log for the whole Necromunda hive. So that would be a really good reason why they would fight over in this area a lot. They would want control over all this info. Mainly, I just want this thing to look really cool and to be super vertical. So at the top of this, we're adding another control station. I think this would be a really cool objective point. And then I had a really cool idea for a bit, for like a moving walkway. And so I glued it in, and shockingly, it still worked. So this is gonna be really fun to play with. All right, so it took 3 times, but I finally got a mold that worked. It turns out my resin was bad, and so I switched to UV resin. Something to keep in mind with UV resin is you don't want to pour all of it at once. I did mine in layers, let it cure, and then I pour another layer and I let it cure, just like a 3D print. And it adheres to itself perfectly fine. So yeah, that worked pretty good. Finally, oh my gosh. When you start making something, like the making never stops. When this board finishes, it'll inspire me to make more things like mechs or Necromunda gangs. It's a constant cycle. And when it is a constant cycle, I feel like I know that I'm doing it right. And I really can't wait to see it inspires me to make next. Like it's a constant rabbit hole. Mordheim is like that too for me. I mean, I'm never gonna get tired of that setting. All right, have a good one.